Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and horrifyingly welcome to 2019 favourites. I know, it's exciting. So I have an absolute ton of products here. Actually, I say that, it's not that bad. I've tried to be very picky and I've tried to be very strict and I've tried to be condensed into things that I have absolutely loved this year, things that I discovered new early on in 2019 and that have managed to make it all the way to the end, and products that I've grown to love very, very quickly towards the end of the year. And I've tried to be as condensed as possible. I'm going to try and keep this as snappy and short as possible. Obviously all of these products I have used and reviewed already on my channel one way or another, so there's no need for me to go into a huge amount of detail. You guys are gonna know why and how I've loved these products. So what I'm going to try and do here is just tell you about the products that have made it to the end of the year, firmly lodged within my heart and soul. So I am keeping it pretty much to makeup as opposed to going into the full beauty shebang, because I feel like that is just going to be too long of a video if I start including skincare and perfumes and everything else. But I have included a few things that are necessary for me to include. So the very first thing is my RikiLovesRiki skinny mirror. I also want to include my tall mirror in here, but I can't bring it down because it's larger than me. But both of these mirrors have massively improved my getting ready, my makeup application process. It's just an absolute joy now because of these mirrors, because they just give me such an easy process, and I just love applying makeup anyway. It's like my therapy, it's my me time. I really, really enjoy that process. And now that I can sit there with a beautiful lighting and sit up and straight and comfortable and be able to see everything and not have to move around trying to find light has just really made a big difference to me. I did a whole longer demonstration of the Riki Skinny and the Riki Tall in my November favourites because they were both new to me last month. So if you want to see them in action in a lot more detail, then they were more featured in that video, but just know they're the loves of my life. Probably my favourite thing of the whole year as far as beauty and makeup items to come into my life this year. The next thing that's obviously not makeup is this Opi Start To Finish. Now this is a nail base coat, top coat and strengthener. As you guys probably know, I always do my own nails. I never get them done professionally in the salon or anything like that. And now I got this in a Vox box from Influenster. I did a whole video about how I got that Vox box. So yeah, this was kind of free in that box along with some of their nail polishes. I've always loved Opi nail polishes. I have a ton of them. And I've never felt the need to use a base coat or a top coat before until I was obviously gifted this one. And it has changed my life. It is, I just don't do my nails without it now. And it just means that when I do my nails and nail polish and I do a top coat of this, they last for literally like 10 days or more, and actually they last until I get bored and want to change my nails, as opposed to having to change them because they're all chipped and faded and coming off. Literally my nails are growing out before the polish has changed or degraded in any way. It is amazing as far as keeping your nails looking freshly painted. I can't recommend it highly enough. And the last non-makeup specific product is my Rephr brushes. As you guys know, I was gifted these brushes from Rephr as part of their launch, as part of their process this year in developing their brand, and they have now launched proper on sale, and I believe that their Kickstarter brushes are going out left, right and centre to you guys as we speak. Honestly, these brushes, I am just obsessed with them. They are such great quality, so soft. Every single brush is so beautifully thought out that it really has made my application, especially my eyeshadow, well, I don't know whether to say especially my eyeshadow. This brush in particular, which is what I now use for bronzer, has really changed my application game for bronzer. I really struggle keeping bronzer on the perimeter of my face and not having it come in too close, and switching to this brush from my MAC 135 has really helped with that. Same thing with their blush brush, same thing with this powder brush I use for setting my face in general, but especially at my under eye area. Every single one of them is just so well thought out, and I can't recommend them highly enough. And I'm so excited to see what Rephr is going to come out with next and what they're going to achieve going forwards now that they are like here and killing the game. So now I don't even know where to start. I think I'm going to start with like the order I apply my makeup. So I'm going to go with complexion first. Now, as you can imagine, foundations this year, whew, a few came out. I won't lie to you. A few foundations came out this year. I don't know if you noticed, but I did, as did my wallet. So the ones that are left, the ones that I reviewed this year that I still am in love with, that are still in like my top few foundations, these are the ones. As I said, I've done full reviews on these foundations. I've done a roundup of all these foundations. So I'm just gonna tell you what they are. And this is the Anastasia foundation, the Luminous foundation, one of my favorites of all time. Same thing goes for the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. I've purchased both of these, in fact nearly all these ones I'm going to talk about, in 2 shades because I literally can't live without them. A lot of the foundations that came out this year are like my holy grail type of formula, you know, medium to full, glowy, natural, smoothing, youthful looking, natural skin-like finish, long wearing, not transferring all over the place, not budging all over the place. Every one of these foundations, or a lot of these foundations brought out this year, ticked like every one of my boxes. Same thing goes for the Fenty Hydrating foundation. I just recently picked this up in another shade because I missed it. And I don't think I realised how much I loved it alongside these two until the shade 300, my summer shade, or kind of my in-between shade, started being too dark for me, and I was like, do you know what I need? I need the lighter shade. So definitely a big love. And I read a description of this recently where it said it's not dewy, it's supposed to look like your skin has just had a huge drink of water. And I was like, that is literally it to a T. That is exactly how this looks on the skin. And then last but not least, the 2 foundations that are slightly less like in my norm, what I go for, the Pat McGrath foundation because it's a little more sheer, and the Charlotte Tilbury because it's a little more matte than the others that I've spoken about. But throughout the day, it just takes on this glorious, beautifully smooth, healthy, luminous look to it, and I find it incredibly bulletproof and long wearing on me. Absolutely amazing. And the Pat McGrath, for a no makeup looks like skin, looking like me but slightly better. The Pat McGrath, I just am obsessed with it. It's the only one I couldn't bring myself to buy a second shade in because it just hurts my soul to do that. But because it's sheer, I can still kind of get away with my summer shade a little more anyway. But yeah, absolutely adore all of those foundations, even though maybe I wish they'd spread them out slightly more across the last few years. Do you know what I mean? So 2 concealers this year that have rocked my world, the Estee Lauder Double Wear Radiant Concealer and the Shiseido Self-Refreshing Synchro Skin, all of the S's concealer. So both of these absolutely changed my life this year. I finally found a couple of concealers that are covering all my darkness and not super aging on me, have a nice application, have a good shade for me, all of the above, tick, tick, tick. Again, I've reviewed both of these if you want to see them in action. But yeah, my 2 holy grail concealers were found this year. Now, a powder that changed my life this year, because you know me, I don't like to set my face with powder, ever. I literally never do it until I discovered this powder, and this is the By Terry Hyaluronic Tinted Hydra Powder. My winter shade is 200, my summer is 300. I love this powder. I set my face today, even though I was using my Shiseido foundation, which is luminous and glowy. Normally, I would never want to put powder over the top of that. I don't want to mattify it. I don't want to make it look heavier. I don't want to make it look less natural. This powder does none of those things that are why I hated powders before. It keeps my skin looking like freshly applied foundation, looking like luminous, smooth, healthy skin. It doesn't look powdery. It doesn't change the finish of my foundation. It just smooths and perfects everything a hair more and gives you some longevity, and also allows you to blend powders without having to be careful at all. It is just amazing, and I will continue to purchase this because I actually love it, which I never thought I'd say about a powder. Sorry about my voice. It's winter. So I have a lot of complexion products. Probably complexion products are the biggest category I have here, but I guess there's most of them, isn't there? So let's start with blushes because there's the most of those. If you don't know me very well, I am a blush addict. Other than maybe foundation, blush is like my favorite step of makeup. I absolutely love blush. Now, at the end of last year, I discovered Laura Mercier's blushes, her blush color infusion blushes that she brought out, I think sometime in 2018 towards the latter end. And Peach was the one that I picked up and that I absolutely adored. I actually put it on my pan project because I thought that's how much I love it. I was just reaching for it all of the damn time. But this year I discovered a couple of other shades. So I picked up the shade Grapefruit in the summer, as you can see. So this is Peach, you can barely see it, I have just applied it to my hand, and then this is Grapefruit. So you can see the difference. This is like the same type of blush, but this will be my summer shade and this will be my winter shade. Absolutely beautiful, the shade Grapefruit. And then I picked up the shade Fresco, which I just find incredibly workable on lots of skin tones. Like, I can just about use this in summer, really building it up. And I can use it beautifully now in winter as well. So this is the Peach shade. As you can see, very natural and soft. This is Grapefruit, much more punch and pigment to it. And then this is Fresco. I love all of these blushes. The formula is just like glorious. It is just the most perfect, smooth, glowy, luminous, natural, soft on the skin, but incredibly buildable. You can get whatever effect you could possibly want with these blushes. Mega pow or very, very soft and natural. They're very flexible. So those have been kind of my go-to blushes this year. I also finally purchased Chanel's Elegance. Look at the state of it. This has been on my to buy list for as long as you can remember. I've seen my friend Mel talk about this numerous times, and I've wanted to pick it up, wanted to pick it up, and just never have gotten around to it. And thank goodness I finally did. I think the reason being that when you swatch this blush, it looks very sparkly and glittery, and you think, oh, what? So another couple of blushes that I have been obsessed with this year. This is the Jouer Cheeky Summer Blush Duo. I had the peach one previously, and when I saw this one coming out in summer that was a bit more for a sort of deeper skin tone, I had to jump all over it because I knew it was going to work perfectly with my tan when I get into my summer skin. And it was also because of the lighter shade. It was going to be wearable in winter. I still use this now. Anytime I want a sort of bronzy, glowy goddess look. And last but not least, this I actually picked up from TK Maxx. I was lucky enough to finally find it. And this is the Peachy Love Trio from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I had been, again, this had been on my list to get for a long time. There's just always something, you know, new, something more exciting, something higher up my list that I kept buying. And then I finally saw it in TK Maxx at like half price and was like, okay, no, I'm gonna make this mine. And I have not regretted it. I have really enjoyed this. I generally just tend to sweep my blush brush across the three, but you can use them on their own. It gives you lots of options, which I always appreciate. Oh, we've gone, hello. So these are the three from the blush trio. This is the Jouer Cheeky, no, what? Yeah, Cheeky Summer. I knew it was right. They're 3 Laura Mercier blushes and Chanel Elegance. And this is my blush life this year. Right here. Stripy. So those are all the blushes, single blushes that I have loved this year. And then let's talk about this. This is the Hourglass Blush Quad. Never have I regretted a purchase less than I regret this. This is just so special. I never thought I would like or use this shade. I never really thought this one would show up on me, but they all work beautifully. I love all of them. I like to sometimes mix them all together. They are just a treat to use. I am absolutely terrified that it's going to run out. I just wish Hourglass would stop it with these stupid limited edition things that everybody loves and adores. Like, why can you not just let us have them? Why are you doing this to us? Just give them to us permanently, please. Please, I don't want to have to panic buy, like the petrol crisis of 1990, I don't know what year it was, but you remember it, when people were queuing around the world to try and get some petrol. We don't want to do that for blush. Just let us buy it whenever we like. Here is the blush quad. Obviously you can see the lightest shade that kind of is just about qualifying as a blush to me. I like to mix these two together, which makes it a really beautiful, like mauvey glowy blush. Obsessed with this corally peachy shade, and this pink that I never thought I would wear, never thought I would use. I actually really love it. There's a couple of other single cheek products that have massively stolen my heart and become holy grails this year. First up, the Anastasia Saddle Bronzer. I've talked about this a lot. It looks really like just dirt in the pan, I feel like. It looks like dirt. It's the only way I can describe it. But somehow on the cheeks, it really, I mean, even there, it looks like the weirdest colour, but I just absolutely love it. I feel like I can see as I'm blending it in now, it's just getting warmer and warmer as I blend it out. It's very strange. I just love the finish of this. It's just the right amount of bronzer that I can control it, but I can also really build it up, which is good for me because I am heavy-handed. With this, I can, you know, use it lightly, blend it out like that, and it causes me no issues. Or I can really build it up. So again, a unique bronzer in the fact that I can use this in summer and in winter, which is unusual for me. I love the finish. They call it matte, but to me, it's definitely got some luminosity and glow to it, but no glitter or shimmer whatsoever. I really love this bronzer. It's become, I'd say, possibly, my favourite ever bronzer. I absolutely love it and I use it constantly. Two highlighters that I found this year that I've loved more than any other highlighter I've ever had in my life. I feel like this year was the year of me finding holy grails. I found so many of my holy grails are here on my desk. There's very few products left in like my ultimate holy grails that weren't discovered this year. The next up is this Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Highlight Duo. This is Afternoon Snack and Mo Honey. It's one of their duos where, you know, you get one that's mega bling and one that is softer. I have been looking for the longest time for a highlight that I can wear on the school run that doesn't really look like I've highlighted. It just looks like a bit of light, a bit of glow, but also a highlight that I can use in the summer that isn't too light, that isn't lighter than my skin, that doesn't leave a cast on my skin. And this was it. I swatched them like directly next to each other. So you can see at the top, like this part here is the less glittery, shimmery shade. And then at the bottom is the more potent shade. But both of those, they just look wet and so smooth. I always have to kind of push myself to use the more kapow shade because it looks really glittery in the pan, and when you put it on your brush and it looks glittery, but the more you work it into your skin, the more it just becomes glow and wet looking, and it just is the perfect shade for my skin, particularly in summer. And I really love the less powerful shade for like my everyday. It just doesn't look like highlight, it just looks like light and like glow and beautiful skin. And then the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Star highlight. Oh, I really wasn't going to pick this up. I was like, I've got too many highlighters. I've already fallen in love with the Fenty. I don't need another one. But I was a bit afraid of it selling out and then me realizing it was like I needed it in my life. And I'm so glad I purchased it because it is heaven. It's like if I want, you know, more of a softer, natural, just a bit of light on my face, I'll go with my Fenty. If I want highlight, but I still want it to look wet and glowy and natural and it really to blend into the skin, I go with the Charlotte Tilbury. It just gives me a bit more kapow if you know what I'm saying. So here it is down here. It's just so glowy, and again, perfect on my skin tone, just absolutely beautifully bright and beaming, but at the same time natural, just about. And then I have two face palettes that have changed my life this year. First up, probably my favourite face palette of life, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Lovegasm palette. Dirty mirror. This is the darker shade, and I absolutely love this one. I love every shade in here. It's just an absolute joy to use. It is limited edition, so again, like the Hourglass blush palette, I'm a little nervous to use this one, but I do, you know me, I do just tend to go, oh, you know, F it. You only live once, you know. So these are the shades in here. I know some people have struggled with this one. I think those people who struggle with it are maybe using synthetic brushes, because it does really seem to need natural hair brushes to get the payoff, but they are buildable shades. The blush is not so much, the bronzer really is a buildable formula, but it works beautifully for me and on my skin, and I absolutely love every shade in here. These blushes are just divine. The highlight, I absolutely love it. It's really underrated because I tend to reach for my singles more often, but when I remember to use this and remember it's in there, it's just gorgeous. It's pretty similar to the Magic Star highlight, but it's a hair lighter, and it's more of a champagne versus the Magic Star, which is more of a gold, I would say. So it's like not quite as warm, but just gorgeous. All of her, like Charlotte Tilbury does glow like nobody, like no other. Her sort of natural skin-like glowy luminous cheek products, best in the game. And then the Natasha Denona Tan Bronze and Glow palette. I've got so much use out of this year. I mean, it is a disgrace. This is what I've got highlight. I used these two highlights today, and you can just see I mixed them both together. I mainly use the lighter one down my nose and in my inner corners, and the darker one on my cheeks, and I just love everything in here. I love the bronzer. I love having this all in one place. I love that there's a cream highlight in here, because sometimes I really want a cream highlight. And I love the fact that I can use this in summer and in winter because it's got different tones in there. So we are getting to the nitty-gritty of it, guys. I have 4 eyeshadow palettes to tell you about. 2 minis, the Natasha Denona Mini Gold and the MAC Boom Boom Bloom palette. I have loved these little palettes. This one came into my life very recently. Again, got a review and a demo tutorial with this one and with this one, to be fair. Very different. Obviously, this is much sort of grungier, olive tones in here. This is very standard girly sort of spring palette. Both of these just give me everything I need in a little mini size, which I just think for travel and things like that, it's so nice that you've got everything. You've got brow bone highlight, you've got transition shade, you've got a choice of, you know, smoking out shades, you've got a choice of lid shades, but they're little ditty. I can use every single shade in here, and it just always ends up with a really pretty soft look and a packaging. Enough said. This one is just really pushing me out my comfort zone, but in such an easy way. It looks a little intimidating because it is greens, but on the eye, it's just really, really easy to wear for a different kind of color story. Absolutely love that palette. And then came the 2 big daddies of the year. The Natasha Denona Metropolis, much like the Mini Gold, but on a much larger scale. Just always encourages me to do something different that I wouldn't normally do. All of these colours, other than like the few sort of crease shades and, you know, maybe this one, are well out of my comfort zone. Yet I easily use and love every time I do a look with this palette. The formula is stunning. The mattes blend like butter. The shimmers are just heaven and so easy to use. I just think it's beautiful. It's much more wearable and easy than it looks. In person, it's much easier to work with as far as colour combinations. Absolute goldmine. It needs to be permanent, because to me, this is the best colour story and the best palette at a great price point that I think she has ever made. There, I said it. And last but not least, for the eyeshadow palettes, the love of my life, the Natasha Denona Mothership 7 Divine Rose. I did a full review of this and 5 looks if you want to see it in action. Every shade in here makes me want to die. It is just so freaking beautiful. I tear up. It's absolutely heaven. It's divine is what it is. But yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than this is like my dream palette. It's everything I want in a palette. It's every shade I want in a palette. It is life. I just love it. I'm obsessed with it. I really hope it comes back. I'm sure it's going to. I don't know what to tell you. It's life. It's perfect. I'm obsessed. So now, last but not least, a few mascara. Pat McGrath's mascara that came out this year. What I'm wearing on my lashes right now, really pushing for top spot in my life right now. Love it. Manages to be mega dramatic but still stay kind of natural because it's very separated and fluffy. And my lashes feel nice and soft, whereas with my Mercier Big they do feel harder and they do look more like fake lash, which I love. But I do appreciate that this keeps more of my lashes because they are more separated. Absolute bomb mascara. Crazy price, wish it was a few pounds less, but love it. So now for lip products. First up, the launch that slayed my life from Christian Audette and my friend Mel Thompson. Her lipsticks and lip liners have barely been off my lips since these arrived through my door. I love seeing collabs from artists and just from humans who really, really deserve all of the good things. And not only that, but they just knocked it out the park. As far as like the liners, I don't just use these liners with these lipsticks. I use these liners day in, day out with everything that goes on my lips. They're just the perfect duo, you know, a lighter nude and a deeper nude that will go with any tone, like any tone. And then I've got like my everyday go-to nude lip, which is everything, and again looks too light for me, but with either of those liners is just everything. Just love it. So wearable. And then, I mean, if you see this and you don't think this is like one of my all-time favorites, who even are you? Just the creamiest, gorgeous, look at that, just this deep sort of reddy orangey coral shade. Like in summer, this is never gonna leave my lips. They knocked it out of the park, these people. As did, woo, hello. These magnets in here cause me real issues. They're always trying to fall out with each other. Look what's happening, like, whoop. And then they push each other away. So these are the Lisa Eldridge lipsticks that I picked up this year. I had one from her summer collection, which was the Go Lightly shade. One of my all-time favorite lipsticks forever. Absolute, the perfect pinky coral, dying over it. I love the bullets, are just so chic. And then I picked up 4 of her winter launch that has just been and gone. These formulas are just to die for. I got the red Velvet Jazz, and then I picked up Velvet Decade, which is the shade I used in my Christmas party. In fact, I put both of those on my lips, but both of those I showed in my Christmas party makeup tutorial. This is Jazz and this is Decade. Just, they're so rich and deep. Never before have I used a matte lipstick that is as comfortable as these mattes are and yet as matte as they are. They're very, very matte, but so comfortable and wearable. This is the shade Muse here, which is like one of my absolute go-to favorite on a daily basis. And then this is Velvet Myth, which was the one that sold out in like crazy timing. And you can see why, just the perfect berry shade. These are all the Lisa Eldridge down here, and then this is her Go Lightly, which is apparently coming back in spring. You can't go wrong with Lisa's lipsticks. They are all just glorious. And then a little flashback to this. I won in a giveaway prize with Charlotte Tilbury her whole Happy Lips 2 collection, which was done for to raise money for charity, and I was lucky enough, I mean, just cooperate, to win the whole collection by entering a picture of my kids doing their happy kiss. And all of this packaging, it's delightful. I wear every single one of these shades. They're all so wearable. They're just a treat on the lips. I'm starting to use different ones now because I'm in my winter skin. So today I've got on, which one is it? Glowing Gen is what I've got on my lips today, whereas in the summer I prefer the deeper shades, and now in winter I can use some of the lighter shades that I couldn't really use in summer because they were too light on me. And I just love every single one of these lipsticks. You can't go wrong. Look at, they're just so beautiful, and I love, and it was such a treat for me to get that whole collection. I can't even tell you. And last but not least, this Hourglass Gloss. So these came out this year. This is the Horizon shade of the Unreal glosses. They have a plumping effect, and I barely had anything else on my lips throughout the summer until Go Lightly came along. But if I wanted a gloss and I just wanted something a bit less kapow, here it is here. This is one of the first glosses I've ever loved. I'm not really a gloss girl. I don't like my hair sticking to my mouth. I don't like it just being halfway across my face by the end of the day. But this one, I make an exception. You can see it's pretty close in shade to Go Lightly, so you can tell why I love it. Absolutely beautiful. And these were my lips this year, guys. These were my lips. Oh, so there we have it, guys. 65 hours later. Insert Titanic meme here. This was 2019. It's been a huge year. I've discovered, like I said, so many of my holy grails this year. I don't even know what to do with myself. So I feel like 2020, how is it going to top this? How is it going to top this? Can't wait to find out. I hope you have an incredible New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, start to your 2020. Thank you so much for joining me if you found me in 2019, and thank you for sticking with me if you were already here. I am so excited to have you with me going into 2020, and I know it's going to be a fabulous year for all of us. I will see you in the next one. Take care for now. Bye 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 bye.